Yowzers, that first sip. Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Heather and as always I'm reading with a vengeance and I hope you are as well. If you're new to my channel, very warm welcome to you. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I'm happy to have you all here. I'm not drinking from one of my cups as I usually do in my videos. I got this on a road trip this past weekend and I know they're absolute poison, but every once in a while they just hit the spot. This is the Coconut Berry Red Bull and it's just what a girl needs. So as it says on the tin, today I'm going to talk to you about new releases coming in January of 2023.
2023.
Now, a lot of these videos are going around and there's a lot of books that everybody is talking about. And I will mention a couple of those. Very popular new releases coming out by very popular authors. But the bulk of the books that I'm going to talk about, and I usually only talk about 5, but I have a bonus one that I just discovered this morning that I wanted to just add in there. So I have 6 new releases that I'm super excited about and that I think a lot of you will be excited about, and books that perhaps you haven't heard about yet. The couple that I will bring up because I am excited about them, but it's not part of my actual list, but the ones that I'm excited about that everybody's talking about, we have Just the Nicest Couple by Mary Kubica, and that is coming out January 10th. Mary Kubica is a very popular author. I love her writing. I haven't read one of hers in a while, but I will be getting to her this coming year. Another one that's super anticipated by much of Booktube and Booktube watchers, and that is How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendricks. I am super excited. I think that's the last Grady Hendricks. That's the only, I think I've read all of Grady Hendricks' books except for that one. There actually might be one. You know what? There's one I always forget, and I'm gonna mention it here. Oh, I think it's nonfiction. It's Paperbacks from Hell, The Twisted History of 70s and 80s Horror Fiction, which still sounds like a fun read. Has anybody out there read that? So other than that, never mind, I'm a total liar. As I'm looking at his list here, I see one called Occupy Space and one called Satan Loves You. I'm not going to click on them and dive into that rabbit hole right now, but I thought I read all of his books. But anyways, I will eventually. But How to Sell a Haunted House is coming out January 17th. And then finally, Exiles by Jane Harper is coming out January 31st. That's the 3rd in the Aaron Falk series. And the first was The Dry. The second was Force of Nature. And Exiles is the 3rd and I think final in that series. I really enjoyed the first 2 books. I really like Aaron Falk as a character. I love her books take place in Australia and super atmospheric. You really feel like you're either in the arid outback of The Dry or in the forest of Force of Nature. So I'm really looking forward to Exiles, which comes out, oh, as I already said, January 31st. So now on to some books perhaps you haven't heard people talk about that I am very excited about. The first one I want to talk about is What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall. I have not heard of this author. She's new to me. It looks like she has written some young adult and middle grade novels. But What Lies in the Woods is marketed as a mystery thriller, of course, right up my street. This one follows Naomi, and she is a survivor of a vicious attack when she was 11 years old. Her and her friends Olivia and Cassidy, when they were 11 years old, used to go into the woods and just do what 11-year-old girls do in the woods. They played a game, I think, called the Goddess Game. I'm not really sure what that game entails, but they just spent time in the woods, and one summer, Naomi was brutally attacked. She survived, I guess, multiple stab wounds. The 3 girls came together. They identified the man who ended up being a serial killer who was wanted for murdering 6 other women. So they testified, put the serial killer away in prison. They were touted as heroes in the town, but then it turns out that they were also liars. So 22 years later, Olivia wants to come forward and tell the truth. Naomi wants to find out what really happened in the woods. And so the story goes from there, and it sounds really, really interesting to me. A lot of times when I discover a new new to me author, I like to kind of find out a little bit about them, and I found out that Kate Alice Marshall has 2 dogs named Vonnegut and Octavia. You gotta love that. What Lies in the Woods comes out January 17th. The next book I want to talk about is Small World by Laura Zigman. Laura Zigman also wrote Separation Anxiety. She's also a new to me author. I haven't read any of her work. This is marketed as contemporary literary fiction, and it surrounds 2 sisters, which I am always intrigued by. This one mainly follows Joyce, who is newly divorced, and she is just getting started in her new life as a newly divorced person, and her sister comes to live with her, and her sister's newly divorced as well. They come together and they start to kind of reconcile the loss of another sister from when they were children. They're dealing with that together. They're dealing with being newly divorced. They're getting to know each other again, and they are dealing with a lot of family secrets. So sisters, secrets, it's ticking a bunch of boxes. So I really look forward to that one, which comes out January 10th. The next book I'm excited about is The Bandit Queens by Perini Shroff. Now, this is a debut novel, so I'm super excited about that. So she's not only a new to me author, she's a new to everybody author. This one is marketed as a mystery / literary fiction that takes place in India. For this one, I'm going to read you the little blurb that Goodreads has. Geeta's no-good husband disappeared 5 years ago. She didn't kill him, but everyone thinks she did, no matter how much she protests. But she soon discovers that being known as a self-made widow has some surprising perks. No one messes with her, no one threatens her, and no one tries to marry her. It's even been good for her business. No one wants to risk getting on her bad side by not buying her jewelry. Freedom must look good on Geeta because other women in the village have started asking her for help to get rid of their own no-good husbands, but not all of them are asking nicely. Now that Geeta's fearsome reputation has become a double-edged sword, she must decide how far to go to protect it, along with the life she's built, because even the best laid plans of would-be widows tend to go awry. This one sounds like a hoot, like it'll be a fun ride, at the same time learning about some Indian culture. Super excited about this one, and I'm loving this cover. The Bandit Queens comes out January 3rd. The next book I'm excited about is called Age of Vice, and this is by Deepti Kapoor, another new to me author. So this isn't her first novel, but none of them look familiar to me. All of them have less than 1,000 ratings on Goodreads, so she is kind of looks like an up-and-comer. But anyways, Age of Vice is marketed as literary fiction / thriller. This shifts through time and perspective in the story centered around corruption, romance, wealth, and violence. It's New Delhi, 3 a.m. A speeding Mercedes jumps the curb, and in the blink of an eye, 5 people are dead. It's a rich man's car, and when the dust settles, there is no rich man at all, just a shell-shocked servant who cannot explain the strange series of events that led to this crime, nor can he foresee the dark drama that is about to unfold. Deftly shifting through time and perspective in contemporary India, Age of Vice is an epic, action-packed story propelled by the seductive wealth, startling corruption, and bloodthirsty violence of the Wadia family, loved by some, loathed by others, feared by all. Looks like this one's a chunker. It looks like it's about 544 pages. So epic family drama with a thriller mystery involved. Yes, please. The next book I am excited for release in January of 2023 is Locust Lane by Stephen Amidon. Now, Stephen Amidon is an American author. Looks like he's got a few other books out. He's new to me. He's got quite a few books. Something called Security, Human Capital, The Real Justine, The Primitive. But Locust Lane says for fans of Mystic River, which I so want to read because I think enough time has passed since I've seen the movie, but I loved the movie Mystic River. If you haven't seen it, it's fantastic. For fans of Mystic River by Dennis Lehane and Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng, Stephen Amidon's Locust Lane is a taut and utterly propulsive story about the search for justice and the fault lines of power and influence in a seemingly idyllic town. So, of course, this is a mystery thriller, which is my bread and butter. On the surface, Emerson, Massachusetts is just like any other affluent New England suburb, but when a young woman is found dead in the nicest part of town, the powerful neighbors close ranks to keep their family safe. In this searing novel, Eden Perry's death kicks off an investigation into the 3 teenagers who were partying with her that night, each a suspect. Hannah, a sweet girl with an unstable history, Jack, the popular kid with a mean streak, Christopher, an outsider desperate to fit in. Their parents, each with motivations of their own, only complicate the picture. They will do anything to protect their children, even at the other's expense. I am loving this. This is having vibes of Safe, which I believe was written by Harlan Coben, but made into a miniseries. Was it on BBC? I don't remember. Did you guys see Safe? It was pretty good. It starred Dexter. His real name is escaping me, but the man who played Dexter, it was pretty good. The only thing I didn't like was Dexter with a British accent. Didn't care for that. Locust Lane sounds like a fun ride, and I'm excited for it. And it comes out January 17th. Okay, I can't remember how I found this one, which it was only this morning, and I cannot remember. Who knows? And I came across this next book that I'm excited for. It's a bonus for my 5 that I'm excited for, to stretch it into 6 that I'm excited for, and that is The Stranded by Sarah Daniels. The Stranded was previously released in the UK in 2022. I'm not sure what happened. I didn't go too far into my research, but it's being re-released in the United States, and I'm here for it. So it looks like The Stranded is the first in a series, and the second one is already set to come out in the summer of 2023. This is also marketed as young adult, dystopian, science fiction, thriller, romance, fantasy. So all of these genres that, for me, is giving me vibes of Wolf by Wolf, which, as you know, I absolutely loved, and it was a total mix of genres. I mean, I won't go too far into it because I have just talked that one to death, but when I read the synopsis for this one, it just appealed to me. And usually when you have young adult and fantasy together, that's usually not something that I get along with. There have been some young adult books that I have really, really enjoyed. I am struggling with fantasy, as you know, and then the two mixed together usually doesn't work. But listen to this. It says, Snowpiercer meets the Hunger Games in a gripping near-future dystopian. Welcome to the Arcadia. Once a luxurious cruise ship, it becomes a refugee camp after being driven from Europe by an apocalyptic war. Now it floats near the coastline of the Federated States, a leftover piece of a fractured USA. For 40 years, residents of the Arcadia have been prohibited from making landfall. It is a world of extreme haves and have-nots, gangs, and makeshift shelters. Esther is a loyal citizen working flat out to have the rare chance to live a normal life as a medic on dry land. Nick is a rebel planning something big to liberate the Arcadia once and for all. When events throw them both together, their lives and the lives of everyone on the ship will change forever. This one sounds like a good time. It looks like it's got some historical fiction with an altered universe, with some sci-fi and some action and adventure. A little dystopia thrown in there, a little bit of romance. This one really sparked my interest. The Stranded is scheduled to be released January 3rd. So that is it. Those are the 6 books that I am super excited for to be released in January 2023. What books are you most excited to come out in the first month of the new year? I would love to hear about it. Please feel free to comment or just say hi down in the doodly-doo. If you're still watching at this point, please feel free to give that like button a boop, and a subscribe would be wonderful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye!